Must be sleeping under a rock or something.
Alright, shoot. What is today? What's up, everybody? It's Devin Alexander in the house. With something a little bit different this time. You know, usually we do the Devin the Blessing Show. The Devin the Blessing Show is still a thing. We're going into our 3 year. Today is what, August 24th. 3 years of the Devin the Blessing Show is on the 27th. Is that Sunday? Yeah, that's Sunday. Okay. So, this is actually a brand new podcast that I am hosting with my special friend, the Tribal Chief. Introduce yourself, Tribal Chief.
Hello, everybody. I am the Tribal Chief Ryan Rains, or Ryan Montanez, whatever you want to call me. Don't really matter. This podcast is called STW. We are doing Slave to the Wrestling podcast.
Yes, sir.
And the whole entire point of this is to do reviews, history, our opinions on what's going on in today's wrestling compared to maybe back in the day's wrestling. Also, we're going to have special tribute shows to specific wrestlers that we really loved, and also reviewing Dark Side of the Rings and whatever's pro wrestling and anything that you guys want us to talk about. Don't be afraid to throw us any ideas.
Right, because this show's gonna be everywhere like the Devin the Blessing Show is. Soon we're gonna have Q&A panels. We're gonna have guests. But this is the first episode, and it just so happens that we decided to do this whole first episode right before finding out Terry Funk had passed away. So we had an entire lineup for that show that we're still gonna go through. We're gonna do a tribute show to Terry Funk. That was really unfortunate. Yes, he was 79, and he's a little older, but still, it's just a point. Like, here we are, you losing another legend. You feel me? And it's been happening a lot. And just rest in peace to Terry Funk, someone that I really enjoy watching. Watched his work at WCW back in the day. I've watched matches with him being the NWA World Champion, and it's another loss. Another one of those old school figureheads that's leaving us far too soon.
Agreed. Terry Funk meant a lot to me just in general, and I really do mean that because I heard stories from my dad that back in the day, back in Pueblo, when he used to come out, Terry Funk Sr., Terry Funk, his brother, always wrestling against Blackjack Mulligan or Cowboy Bob Orton, Andre. I mean, the names go on. I mean, it was just, and then to actually see him myself in the old tapes of the Japan death matches and FMW and just everything that he did. I mean, he's the real hardcore. I wouldn't even say a legend. He's probably the hardcore god.
Yeah, he's like the godfather of the sport.
He is.
He suggested to Mick Foley and the Undertaker star Hell in a Cell on top of the cage, and that's one of the things that I love about him, and just the realm to think outside the box, to do things different, to put ECW on his back, to take his name and put that company on his back and help them out in their early days, gain some credibility. It was really awesome of him too.
That and all the influence he had on wrestling in general, some good, some bad, depending on if people like deathmatch wrestling or not. Some people do, some people don't. I'm a fan of it to a point, as long as you do it right. I mean, you got to tell a story. I figure always, doesn't matter if you're in the indies or in the pros. I just figure that he did so much good stuff for the business, and any of the wrestlers that actually got to talk to him or got to ride with him in general, they're very lucky to get any of that knowledge, and we'll definitely do, when we talk or do the whole entire episode on Terry Funk, we'll definitely get into maybe even the Dark Side of the Ring, because he was one of the heads on that, and talked about FMW in general, which was a really good episode.
For those of you less initiated out there, FMW was Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling in Japan, which was an innovator of hardcore wrestling. I picked up some tapes of them when I was in high school a long time ago, so I'm very familiar with the product. If you aren't, there's videos on YouTube. Just look up FMW, and you won't regret it if you're a fan of deathmatch wrestling. I promise. So.
Definitely not. And I hope you got that bell sound ready, because let's get ready for that 10-belt salute to a hardcore god.
Yeah.
Mr. Terry Funk.
Yeah, man.
Rest in peace.
It's a sad day, my friend.
Yes.
So.
Very sad. Broke my heart when I actually found out. Well, you're the one who told me, and I didn't want to believe it, so I had to Google it. And then, yeah.
Right.
Really,
I didn't want to believe it either. I just happened to see it on Facebook. Somebody posted it, and I was like, no. So then, you know, of course, I saw TMZ had reported on it, and I was like, no.
Exactly. So, let's go into a happier topic. Let's get into what happened Monday night on Raw. Let's get into that. Let's get into some more good stuff. We'll go into like the first segment. You know how Raw always starts out. Everyone know how Raw starts out. It's the same stuff every week. We're not gonna lie.
Raw's been the same for. Raw's had the same formula for a long time, bro. You know that. So.
Yes. And the crazy thing is, you got to understand about us too. And a lot of people probably look at us and probably don't even think about it. But we've actually done stuff in the ring also. So we do have maybe like the 10-minute experience. Well, we have done something in there, and we'll tell you that shit hurts.
I've actually helped them build a ring. You feel me? So I mean, after helping them build the ring, it really gave me a lot of insight on what's really going on. I'm like, bro, this is brutal right here. I didn't.
Well, exactly, and how the rings are put together, and then just to say the chops. I've been chopped where I had bruises on my chest for 2 to 3 days, cuts on my forehead from a light bulb, which I didn't want to be cut by, but you know it happened. So, we'll go back into Raw. Let's jump into Raw right quick. So, Judgment Day opens up. You know, always coming out. It's just Rhea, Dom, and Senior Money in the Bank, Damian Priest. And they're talking about where's Finn? Finn is out with his buddy again. Sammy obviously comes out. Judgment Day surrounds the ring. KO comes out, clears the ring. The crowd gives him a big, big pop because he came back, because it's been, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks since he's been back, right, KO?
Well, you know, they're in Quebec. Well, they're in Quebec, too, shit. So, you know, that
Well, and also, yes, that home factor also really does help a lot. But I think, even if it would have been in the States, I think he still would have got the pop that he had.
Well, yeah, of course. You know, he deserved it, too. So.
Yeah, and then, of course, we already know KO's going to call them out for a tag team match, and we'll figure out, we'll see what happens during the tag team match a little bit later on.
Right.
So that was the first segment. A lot of the same stuff that usually happens.
Yeah, typical
I'll say,
Raw business, you know, so.
Exactly, but I'll say this about the Judgment Day. You can definitely say either Rhea's the leader, even Damien's the leader, Finn's just kind of there, and Dom is that little chicken shit heel, and he plays it perfect. He plays that stuff perfect. And if you don't agree with me, you got to go back and just watch the tapes. Okay? You got to go back and watch the matches. Got to go back and watch the promos. Okay.
I'm a big supporter of Dom.
One of the better heels right now. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, huge supporter of his work right now. He has a lot of natural heat. Has had natural heat since he turned on Ray. It's kind of taken him to the next level. I've actually really impressed with his sniveling heel work. The white meat baby face stick wasn't really working for me. So
No, I'll have to say that also, and then throwing in like a little bit of the nepotism that people and fans see that a lot of these guys worked really hard to get here, like Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, KO, Cody to get back to where he is at now. So I think there's just natural heat there, like you said. So it was just I just like what the Judgment Day is doing. And then we go into a match. The first match is the New Day versus Riddle and Drew, which the New Day is coming back. I know this, but Drew and Riddle are baby faces. So what are they doing wrestling other baby faces? Are they turning New Day to heels? But it really didn't seem like they were turning them to heels because, the match was decent. I'll say that much. I'll say the match was decent. Xavier keeps telling them that they're not a tag team. They're not a tag team. And then they go out and Drew gets pulled off the apron by the Viking Raiders that they were hiding underneath the ring. The New Day wins the match, gets the pinfall, wins the match. The Raiders come in and start jumping the New Day. And Drew and Riddle help them out, throw them out, and, clear the ring, whatever, leave them standing strong in the ring. So it was babyface versus babyface, but they added an element in there because they needed to do something with the Viking Raiders, obviously.
Yeah, I just feel like Matt Riddle's kind of stuck in fucking creative hell right now just because of Randy Orton not being there. I feel like this is another example that they really don't know what to do with him, and that's why him and Drew McIntyre together, it's a decent fit, I guess, for right now. But then the New Day are also another team that's suffering from missing a member, which could be permanent,
Yes.
unfortunately, too, with Big E being gone, and that's going to be a big hole for them to fill.
Yeah, it's a big hole to fill, and so with Big E being gone also, and them talking about rumors around the internet, everything speaking everywhere that you want to look, saying that he might do commentary for the WWE doesn't look like a good sign for him. Which I feel really bad for because I thought he was really good. Great worker in the ring, could actually connect with the people, which a lot of people, people die for that. Companies die for someone that can actually connect with the crowd, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's really kind of starting to come into his own, being a multiple-time world champion already, and it's just, it's really sad, actually. I feel like we're getting robbed of something that could be great, so.
Exactly, it's just one of those misfortunes like draws back in the day with D'Lo Brown, and in that business, it's not if you're going to get hurt, it's when and how bad. We all know this. We have a lot of indie friends that have gotten hurt. Good, decent, really bad, and kind of in the middle. So then they go to an interview segment with JD and Finn. Rhea's mad, grabs Finn from the back, and tells them that him and Damian need to figure out who the tag team is going to be, everything like that. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. Nothing really special there. Gunther comes out, I thought it was one of the best promos that I've seen in a while on Raw, calling out Chad Gable for the IC title, saying Otis, and, then they cut to Chad Gable. That's what I meant to say. Sorry about that. And then they cut to Chad Gable, and Otis and Maxine, hyping up Chad Gable, saying that he's a great coach, that they wouldn't be at the status that they were at if it wasn't for Gable. And I'll say this. I'm happy that they turned them babyface finally, because they were good at heels, but I could see the potential of them going into the babyface face.
Right.
Really could see it. And that theme being added to it, perfect draw. Perfect draw for that.
Indeed it is.
And then Cena will be on SmackDown in September, one of the first week in September. So that's something also to look forward to.
Yeah, it is, because they're gonna be here on September 15th, and he might be here. Oh my God! That makes me want to go to the show even more on September 15th. We live in Denver, so they're coming here to town.
I'll be there.
But that's also the same weekend as my favorite show of the year, Slaves of the Death Match. We'll get back to that in a little bit too. So.
Yeah, we'll get back to that one. So we'll go into the match, which I thought should have been the main event. I know everybody. We'll go on to what everybody pays for here in a little bit, but I thought Gunther and Chad Gable should have been the main event. The match was stellar, all the way across the board.
Yeah, give it a solid A-.
Yeah, I would give that definitely a 4 stars. I am a very hard 5-star guy. That definitely gets a 4-star for me. Just the chops that Gunther lays down is just, they're devastating. And that suplex that Chad Gable does is perfect. So I used to be an amateur wrestler. To do that and stand on your neck, that is hard to do, guys. You have no idea. Chad Gable, they said Chad Gable was the first to beat Gunther by count out. Obviously, he didn't win the title because it was a count out. Obviously, he didn't, but he was the first person to beat Gunther since he has had the IC title, and I think he's had that for over a year now, right?
He's getting close.
Honky Tonk Man's record, right?
Yeah, Honky Tonk Man was at 468 days. He's edging in on that real quick. So.
Okay, and they're definitely gonna have Gunther and Gable on the next pay-per-view.
Right.
We'll just say that and leave that there.
Right.
Next segment, we go to a vignette. Another one with Judgment Day in the back. They're all arguing with each other, trying to figure out who's going to tag with each other. Everyone wants to tag with Dom. Damien and Finn don't want to tag with each other. She pulls chicken shit Dom off to the side and tells those two to figure it out. That's the end of that segment. Pretty dang quick. Rhea is definitely becoming the boss in this. You can tell as becoming the main leader, which I thought she should have been since the beginning. Then they go to the back. Gunther's pissed off, yelling at Imperium. And the blonde dude from Imperium, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, says that he's going to do something about it next week. And the next week's match is Gable versus the blonde dude from Imperium. Can't remember your name right now.
Giovanni Vinci.
Yeah. So here we talk about the money drop. Here we go. What does everybody pay to go see Raw for? Who is the one person that everybody goes to see Raw right now?
Seth Rollins.
You can say Seth Rollins, but I think you're wrong.
It's Seth for me.
Because the name that they're paying to go see is Cody Rhodes.
Indeed.
That is the truth.
It is the truth.
And
I'll argue Seth Rollins,
but have the title belt. Even though he doesn't have the title belt also. That's what the main draw is.
Indeed it is.
I'm not going to lie.
No.
So they did the interview. He walks out to the crowd, tells them, what do you want to talk? What do you guys want to talk about? And gives them their whole little spiel, why the Raw fans are the best, and main event's going to be Sami Zayn and the Judgment Day, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Into that segment. Crowd's going wild. Obviously, the song hits again. Everyone goes, whoa, and all that other stuff.
I'm weak.
Then they hit the Nakamura vignette. What did you think? Let me ask you. What did you think about the Nakamura vignette? About what he whispered to Seth Rollins?
I think it was cool. I think it's an opportunity to create doubt with Seth Rollins coming out the champion in this feud. But, they haven't pulled the trigger on Nakamura yet. They should have quite some time ago, especially when he was really hot. I think this is an opportunity where they might actually pull the trigger on him, and I'm really hoping so.
Same. And I'll say it was an interesting one because it was a different kind of vignette that I've seen, even though he was in the ring. They played a video, obviously, with closed caption because he was speaking in Japanese.
And I love
telling him that he was just in pain when he hugged his kids, telling him he was in pain when he hugged Becky. He's in pain all the time. But you also brought up to me that Seth Rollins is supposed to be in a Marvel movie, correct?
Yeah, the new Captain America. Yeah, and that could be the perfect excuse to get him off of TV. And, they put the title on Nakamura. He'll be a transitional champion more than likely. And then,
More than likely.
We'll have it for like a month.
Figure out if they're going to put LA Knight on there or if they're going to keep him on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I think that puts, him and The Miz, we'll get to that match here in a couple minutes. I think that match is right after Yeah, it was actually right after the interview with, right after the vignette with,
That was
them. So,
Rhea Ripley versus Candice LeRae.
yeah, Rhea Ripley and Candice LeRae came out. You're right about that. Yep. And let me get your insight on that match, because Rhea's just been looking dominant. She's just been looking dominant, and I loved how it was kind of a quick match, but I also liked how Raquel came out with the crutch and making it look like she was still hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That was it's been done before millions of times, but it's a gimmick to pull off,
right.
Especially when somebody's supposed to be hurt.
So,
and I
felt like during Rhea Ripley's reign as champion that they haven't had any solid booking for her. I feel like there's no competition for her right now, which is really kind of silly, right?
Well, that's where I'm going to get into let's just say this. We'll skip a little ahead. We'll go back. Think about the Trish and Becky Lynch thing going on
we
right
talked
now
about that.
No one gives a crap about. Rhea could be feuding with Becky right now, or she could be feuding with Trish Stratus.
I would be okay with either one of those scenarios right now.
Well, because at least it's for a title. At least it's for the championship. You know what I mean?
Right.
And them just fighting each other, and that Zoe just kind of just being there, like, I don't know, that's already been played out. And you can tell the crowd was not into, her promo was horrible. Trish Stratus' promo was horrible. One of the worst promos I've heard from her, like, ever.
It was terrible. I was like, girl.
Horrible.
What are you doing?
Yeah, horrible. And then, so we'll say that, like you said, bad booking. They have two people wrestling each other that could be going for the title, making it more interesting, because the other three are on SmackDown. Asuka, Charlotte, and Bianca. You know what I mean? So I agree 1,000% with that. So we'll go back to after that match, we had Miz
and Akira
Tozawa. Yeah, he was saying that, what's his name is just a speckle on the spectrum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Say his name again. I can't say it right now.
Tozawa.
Tozawa. I wanted to say Tanaka.
I'm weak. I
wanted to say Tanaka. That is definitely way older name than what Tozawa is.
Tanaka.
Tozawa comes out because he's like, I'm going to challenge somebody to prove my legacy. Tozawa comes out. Look at Tozawa. We knew it was going to be Tozawa. And he pisses off the Miz, just going, yeah.
Oh, that's my favorite, bro. I love that shit.
So I loved how the match started. LA Knight walks out, no promo. He's not cutting a promo on him or anything to distract him, do nothing like that. I love how we just sat in the chair. Miz tried to do the exact same thing that LA Knight did to him on Friday night by throwing the dude into him in the chair, but didn't work. Because Tozawa fucking spun around and ended up doing some stuff, And then how Tozawa rolled him up and pinned him without LA Knight interfering in the match at all. Perfect setup, perfect part of a storyline. That's how you put a storyline together. You got the heel cheating out the guy, literally cheating out the guy, and the babyface just sits there and lets the guy lose. Perfect.
It was great. I loved it.
Reminds me of a good storyline.
Yeah.
We'll get to why I talk about storylines like that here in a couple minutes.
I'm weak.
Also, a good storyline going on in WWE, and I think you might agree with this, is putting Chelsea Green, because Sonya Deville is going to be out for 7 to 8 months.
Jesus.
Having Piper come in and being the powerhouse of the group. Love it. Love it.
It works real good. So.
And it works perfect because you can have Chelsea Green in the back doing the talks, all the promos, all this and that, and Piper just got to stand there and look tough. Because she looks like she's mean anyway. Let's just be honest.
I'm dead.
I wouldn't want to wrestle that girl. She'd break me. And then they go into the match. I don't know who the two that came up from NXT are, because I don't really know too many names in NXT. Sorry, wrestling fans. I am getting into it now. I know who Wesley is and Carmella Hayes and everybody. That's the main people.
I miss
I'm
my
trying to find
boo.
the undercard
Ooh, I
people
miss
more.
my boo, Nikita Lyons. Girl.
Exactly. Exactly. So they come in, they're beating up Chelsea. They do the blind tag. The announcers say, "Did she see the blind tag?" That was one of the funny parts. The other funny part, and I know you've seen this, is when Chelsea turned around where the girl was running off the ropes and told her, literally had to say, "Hit me." Didn't you hear that during Raw? When Chelsea told the girl from NXT to hit her. She said, "Hit me."
That was hilarious, personally, but that was hilarious.
That was hilarious. That is not on Chelsea Green. That was already been taught. I guarantee you that's been talked about. Or when you see something like that, it's a natural reaction to kind of react the way that you need to, because you already know that you're supposed to get the blind tag. You're going to try to pin Chelsea. The ref's going to be like, "No, she's not legal. She's not legal." Hyder's going to come in and just destroy you.
Right.
Which she did.
Yeah, and she totally
in
did.
the match.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love at the very end how she just picked up Chelsea and carried her out like she was nothing. That was freaking funny too. So I do like what they're doing there. Then we got into the main event, which was Finn Balor and Damian Priest versus Sami Zayn and KO. Well, match started going, regular build up. That JD McDonough comes out. He throws the case, like literally just throws it to KO when he was trying to throw it to Finn. There's a disqualification. So I'm like, okay, there's like still 10 to 12 minutes left. What are they planning here? And then Cody Rhodes comes out, which everybody pays for, like I said. I almost forgot the Seth Rollins interview also. Sorry about that. We'll hit that after the main event. We'll go back to the Seth Rollins interview. That's how much Seth Rollins interview really intrigued me. Sorry about that. Just being honest, guys. Just being honest here.
Right.
And so Cody says it's going to be a 3-way match, blah, 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 da-da-da-da. They get through the match. I loved how Dom ate every single finisher. He knew that was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
He ate all the finishers, ending of the match. Seth Rollins interview, pretty much just saying Nakamura figured it out, Nakamura this, Nakamura that, I'm going to fight him at a pay-per-view. Pretty much that's what that was.
Right.
What was your overview altogether of Raw?
It wasn't bad.
What was your best, what would you say was your, let's just say this, what was your highlight? What did you think was bad, and what do you think they could have done better?
The main event was the highlight. Like I said, I think they don't really have any booking decisions for Matt Riddle right now. They don't really have a lot of direction for Rhea Ripley right now. I mean, at least opponent-wise, I think they could improve in those areas. And then just overall flow of the show. Like, sometimes, like, I'm not going to lie to you, there are times I'm watching Raw where I'm just like, is this over yet? Like, I want to play GTA 5. So, just for engagement reasons, I haven't watched a full episode of Raw in some years until like right before we did the show, just because it plods along, and I just really I'm not a huge fan of the 3-hour format. I think a 2-hour format fits better, but the roster is huge, so you got to have time to showcase as many people as you can. And that's really why the 3 hours is there, but at the same time, I still just kind of like, it's a lot. It was a good show. I would give it like a solid B. Basically, I feel like it was a solid B. But, for me personally, it's still kind of, how'd you feel about it?
So, well, my highlight, I would definitely have to say, it was definitely the IC title match. I thought that was the best highlight, the best match. They had good promos in it. Everything was smooth, looked really natural, looked good. So I'll have to say that was my highlight. What they could have done better. Obviously, in the women's tag team match, there could have been a lot of stuff that was done better.
Yeah.
If you guys watched the match, there was no crowd participation. There we go. And
they just weren't into it.
Yeah, the whole entire flow of the match was kind of out of whack.
It kind of plodded along.
I enjoyed certain parts of the match, but overall, the match would have been like a D. B minus maybe even. I'm not gonna lie. What they could do better, women. I think some of the women in WWE need more time to actually cut a promo to the crowd to actually get them in, and especially I don't think they utilize the women's tag team championships as much as they should, and they don't they don't try to push it as hard to get them over.
Because the titles are cursed. The titles are cursed. It's like somebody always gets hurt, or like
that, or ever since Sasha Banks and Naomi left, literally.
They've been cursed. Well, I really think it started when the Iconics left. I was a huge fan of the Iconics and WWE as the champions. I
agree with you on that.
Loved them. I thought they were so wonderful, and I've been. I mean, they're the inspiration now, but it's just not the same. And it's like
exactly. So I watched a little bit of NXT. I don't know too many of the names. I know that Tiffany, Gigi, and Rosie Perez and another girl, they're going to be doing, pretty sure it's going to end up being a 4-way match.
Yeah.
For the women's NXT title. Dom and Rhea lost in the intergender match, which I was kind of surprised, to be honest with you on that, but I'm happy that they brought Raquel back one night to beat up Rhea in NXT, just because, that's where they develop everybody, you know what I mean? So I thought NXT was decent. Like I said, I need to learn more of the names, guys, and keep watching that show a little bit more. I'm not gonna lie to you on that note.
I never really was into NXT. I'm not gonna lie. There's no disrespect to those guys. It's just like I, over the years, have been watching more of the local scene here in Denver, to be honest with you, than a lot of other things. So I'm kind of more in tune with the local scene here in Denver. There's a lot of good wrestlers that are here in town. If you're not familiar with the Denver wrestling scene, there's Rocky Mountain Pro, there's Primo's Wrestling, there's CSW down in Colorado Springs, there's Renegade Wrestling out in Canyon City, and there's a lot of good folks out here that are doing their thing, and if you aren't in tune, you should check it out.
Definitely, and Saved It in a Death Match will be on Fight TV. I know that for sure, so you can rent that as a pay-per-view, and it's not over expensive, not like AEW stuff. So
it's gonna be pretty dope.
And then, so we'll get into Dynamite here, but I got a question for you before we get into Dynamite. So what do you think about them throwing pretty much 2 pay-per-views in a row with All In one weekend, and then the next weekend they're gonna have All Out? I mean, do they think we're made of money? Do they think the wrestling fans are going to buy both of those? Because, I mean, if I was going to pay for either of them, I'm going to go for All In. I mean, 80,000 people, the biggest wrestling event ever. You know what I mean? So
I think it's a little ambitious on their part, especially considering the current climates of everybody's finances and shit like that. So I think that's a little bit ambitious just right now. I would say if this were 2019, that'd be great. But because it's the current situation that we're in right now, folks are going to buy the big one, and they're going to go, I'll catch the highlights of the other one on YouTube, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So,
yeah, exactly.
Not to discredit them or anything, people are just broke right now.
No, people are programmed, and then, we're not used to having 2 pay-per-views every single weekend. This is not 2002 or 2002, 2003 when TNA was trying to put them on every single week.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I remember those days too. That was ridiculous.
That was the startup of TNA back in the day, and I don't even watch Impact anymore because they're not on Hulu. I don't have AXS. I don't have the New Japan channel either. And I'm not a huge New Japan wrestling fan anyway.
Yeah, you said that.
You guys, I'm sorry to break a lot of you guys' hearts when I say stuff like this, but it's just honest truth. Everyone has their own opinion on things, man, so just take it as it is. So let's jump into Dynamite from last night.
I haven't watched AEW in a while just because I felt like Dynamite wasn't really as watchable as it has been, but I will say that when I watched the show last night, I did mark out a couple times I did. I marked out a couple times, like a little kid. But I usually do when I watch wrestling. So, but I did. There was a couple times last night where I marked out, and there were some highlights of the evening. We'll get into that in just a second.
I mean, I marked out just a couple. I mean, there was like maybe one whole segment I did. Maybe that's like literally one segment. But Dynamite seems to me, and it's nothing against the indies. The only reason why I say indies is because you guys are not televised, and you guys can't write storylines where people can see them every single week.
Right.
Where you guys, or every other day, where some of these guys are wrestling every other day, like in the local scenes. I know this. I see it all the time. I have millions of fucking, excuse my language, millions of wrestlers on our friends list. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, we see what these wrestlers do on a natural day-to-day basis. And I feel like Dynamite just kind of slaps things together. And, like, same thing with the pay-per-view. Kind of things like they were just kind of taking pieces of paper and were, like, trying to see what would stick on the wall. I ain't gonna lie to you. And last week, well, I'm not even getting into last week, because last week was the WTF of the WTFs of WTFs. So, let's get into this week's thing.
Wait. Before we do that, we all know that Terry Funk for a time period was Chainsaw Charlie and stuff. And
okay, you want to talk about
yeah, because I can't help it. Like Chainsaw Charlie looked better than that fucking whatever that thing was they brought down to the ring last night. That was supposed to be Leatherface. They claim they're not sports entertainment. That was the most sports entertainment thing that I've seen since RoboCop came out on freaking WCW back in the day. Like,
well, bro, my thing about it was also is, so let me just kind of go through the match from what I remember.
The Texas Death Match.
Yeah. So let me just go through the match from what I remember. So you're gonna play Jeff Hardy's music. He's gonna walk out, okay, and do his little dance that he does or whatever, you know. Then he's gonna walk down to some hallway with a whole bunch of red special lighting and like fake chains hanging on the wall with shackles and this and this.
It was for the Fiend.
Yeah, but isn't it supposed to be pro wrestling, not sports entertainment?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what that little point I'm trying to make. Then you get Jeff Jarrett, which is definitely known in Knoxville, obviously, in Tennessee, obviously. So he comes out, he starts fighting with Jeff Hardy. Then all of a sudden, Karen's there. Why is Karen Jarrett there? Why? What's she there for? She's just yelling and screaming. And then you got Jay Lethal. You got Satnam Singh in some freaking overalls looking like Big John off of the Green Mile.
I'm weak.
And then you have Matt Hardy, which can't move anymore, but, you know, he puts on Twitter that he's still just as good as he was in his WWE days. I don't know about that one.
Oh, we'll talk about that main event they were in last night here in a little bit. God.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that one, too. But, yeah. But then Ethan Page and then Isaiah, you know, they're all wrestling and say everything's just, I don't know what the hell's going on. Mm-hmm. There's too much stuff going on in general, okay? Mm-hmm. Then when they get to the ring, they hit Karen and Jeff Jarrett with blood, with fake blood. What are they supposed to be, Carrie or something like that?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this is one thing that I didn't notice. I actually had to go back and actually watch it. So the guy with a great value chainsaw mask comes down to the ring. Did you realize that chainsaw was not running and they played the sound over their sound system?
I know. It was hilarious. That was the cheesiest crap I ever seen.
And then, yeah, they let Jeff Jarrett win because obviously it's Tennessee. They're going to put it over. The belt looked okay, but they were promoting a video game.
Yeah, the Texas Chainsaw Match. Now, which I'm going to tell you, that game's fucking dope.
I heard the game was really good. I'm not going to lie. I heard the game was good. Let's say this. the match does not do the game justice, okay?
Right. So then there's that. Like,
okay, so after that, what the fuck bullshit, okay? So last night's Dynamite, I'm going to give you my full opinions of a whole bunch of people tonight, a whole bunch of people, wrestlers in AEW, and it's the same in WWE. There's certain wrestlers that just pick at me, and I just don't get it with certain of them, okay? First off, the Elite, okay?
oh my God.
Until we get to the interview with two of them, because there's one that I do like, just did some corny stuff in Japan, and you already know who I'm talking about. And then you got the other two that are just seem douchey, okay?
We'll
so
talk about that
comes
interview
out-
in a second, because that interview was... Anyway.
Yeah, well, like I said, we'll get to that, because that's here down here in a little bit, but we'll get there, okay? So you got the Elite versus Juice Robinson and the Guns. All right, so once again, there's no build-up. The Guns, the Elite run out and start beating the crap out of Juice and the Guns. Nick, of course, right away, you know how the Young Bucks do their things. Flip, super kick, flip, BET trigger. Match is over.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen this time. It was surprising.
He said that was surprising. I'm dead.
Jackson comes through the ropes, he hits the Guns. Juice Robinson knocks out the ref. But before the ref even gets knocked out, literally the announcers are saying, "Did he even ring the bell yet?" So I don't even think the bell rung once during this match to even start the match. Okay?
Right.
I'm gonna leave that out there, and I'll have to go back and watch. And if you guys go back and watch, please let me know in the comments or anything like that. But you know, right away, super kicks from the Bucks. He super kicks the Guns out of the ring. Then it comes more super kicks. Jay White shows up. Kenny beats up the Guns with a high knee and throwing him out the ring with the dragon suplex, you know. Takeshita shows up, hits Kenny from the back. Jay White got hit with the knee in the face by Kenny Omega prior to that. Everyone's fighting outside, so I don't know what the heck's going on. This is the what the fuck moment, is why did FTR, when they're going to be wrestling the Bucks on Sunday at All In, come out to help out the Young Bucks? That didn't make no sense to me. I mean, why do you care about the guys that are getting beat up? I wouldn't care about them.
No.
I'm pretty sure you wouldn't care about them.
Especially if I'm wrestling them for my tag team championship. No, I don't care.
Exactly.
No,
exactly.
not at all.
So then you got Kenny and Takeshita left in the ring, which I really like Takeshita. I don't think there's been any good booking with him since the start. I think there's so much more potential. I think he should have the Atlantic title over Orange Julius or Orange Cassidy, whatever you want to call him.
I always forget you don't like Orange Cassidy. I love Orange Cassidy. That's my boy. I
like Orange Cassidy to a point, okay?
That's my
and
boy.
And then Kenny knocks out Takeshita. Kenny's left standing in the ring. What the fuck happened there?
You loved it.
Didn't get the point of the match. Let's just say that.
It's LA Knight's game. Yeah.
I'm just happy Orange Cassidy. I'm just glad Orange Cassidy didn't open the match for the last 8 weeks like he has. So that was just my opinion on that match. We're going to the next one, which was, I'm happy they did this interview because it kind of brought MJF back to where he was, and not doing I want to say it's corny, anything like that, but it's kind of fake for him. I love the heel version of MJF.
Mm-hmm.
So during the interview with Renee, she asked him about the friendship and the main event they're at Wembley Stadium. You know, it's one of the best things. Is it going to be one of the best matches that you've done? And he goes, 80,000 people with my best friend. He's made me a better person. We're doing the tag team championship during 0 hour, which I'm still mad that I'm doing 2 matches, but you know, it is what it is. And then he said that if he wins the AEW title, because he loves that BBB, no matter what, that triple B is what consumes him, is what he says. He'll buy everybody a pint. And she goes, "Oh, are you serious about buying people a pint?" She goes, "No, keep that quiet. That Tony Khan will be paying for it." I thought that was great.
Yeah, I did too. I got love for Tony Khan, but he's just a big giant wrestling mark like I am, so.
And it's the second time that he's called him a mark on camera, which is great. He is a mark.
Yeah.
He's a bigger mark than a lot of us. I'm not going to lie, because some of his booking is mark booking, not regular booking.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I was never a booker in wrestling or anything like that, but I don't think I could put a better show together, but I know I could actually put some people in some storylines. Maybe some of them wouldn't make sense. I wouldn't say they'd be Vince Russo bad, brother, or bro, hey bro. But bro, I can tell you, bro, I would be better, bro.
Oh my God.
So, fuck shit stain. I love that Cornette calls him shit stain. Don't get mad, Cornette, if I use your name, all right? Just that one time, though, I promise.
We love your corn. We love your corny.
Back, and then he just says that he's the fan scumbag. That's what he is. So that was the end of that segment. Which, like I said, he got back to his roots, just being that, having the same attitude that he's had. You know what I mean? And then we go into the second match, which we have some news on the second match, and I think you read it this morning also. I know I read it this morning. So we'll go into the construction worker, Moxley. So during Mox's entrance, because he takes 75 minutes to get to the freaking ring.
He takes longer to get to the ring than the Undertaker does. I never thought I'd be able to say that.
Well, you have to, let's say this, you get 10 minutes to wrestle, there's 5 minutes gone right there, just him walking to the ring. You got 5 minutes, you got 2 minutes for you to come in, and then you got 3 minutes to work out the rest of the match. Like, literally. But, well, that's just another issue for another day. So, they do that, then they showed the replay of last week where Useless and Orange Julius and the What the Fuck Happened match with everybody running in and out, in and out, in and out. If you didn't watch it, just go back and watch it. I'm not going to explain last week's match. I'm sorry, guys. There was no real build up to the match. It kind of just seemed like they were doing whatever right away.
Yeah.
Like right away, there was just like top rope stuff. There was like no actual interaction. It was just like, let's just do this and let's just do that. Like kind of stuff.
It's like they were calling it in the ring with little skill.
Yeah, it wasn't like they were communicating with each other very much. And even if you don't communicate with each other and you do the old school way, and you guys should be able to communicate with your body language, there was no body language, no body language communication at all.
Yeah, it was very discombobulated.
Yes, and then I think one of the best parts was when he did the face stomp, and he oversold it like a mug. Because he literally went, woo, and flipped it over. So I thought that was a great part. I thought that was awesome. Probably the only highlight of the match, honestly. Because the rest of the match here, we're getting into it, which he shoots him into the barricade. Mox's complete control, tries to hit clothesline. I skipped the commercial because they went to commercial right there. I went through the picture-in-picture. Here we go. The horrible stomps that Moxley's having. I mean, yeah, somebody tried to compare it to like old school Steve Austin stomps, but even if Steve Austin couldn't stomp that well, he still made it look more natural than what Moxley does. Correct?
Yeah, Steve's stomps for the mud hole stomping is amazing. Like
Yes, and I heard somebody try to compare it to that, but
no, it's not.
He's not even kicking the guy half the time. It looks like, man.
It's not.
So I don't know about that one. That was just my opinion on that part, because I thought his kicks could get 10 million times better. There was a decent cutter in the mix. There was a 2 count, a frog splash, another 2 count, and then he chokes out Ray Phoenix at the very end. And then the BBC with Castanoli and Wheeler Useless, come in with crowbars, and they're getting ready to hit Ray Phoenix in the head. And then here comes the best friends, aka the Pudding Twins.
The Pudding Twins.
And then you got Orange Julius, or Orange Cassidy
Ooh.
coming out to the ring. And then all of a sudden we see Ortiz there. And we see we see Ortiz blocking off Kingston and Zero Mil, Penta. We see them blocking them off, and I'm like, okay, why are they blocking them? Okay, I thought they were kind of friends. Like, what's going on here? Like, what the fuck, okay? And then they have Santana's music hitch, which we know Santana and Ortiz have been out. I think Ortiz has been out for like 3 to 4 months, and I know Santana's been out for a year because he had that ACL surgery on his knee. But they bring him back during Dynamite to show that they're going to be wrestling with the BCC at Wembley? Why did they do that? Why? You would have had a way bigger pop for each of those guys.
If you would have waited to pull the trigger at Wembley Stadium. This fool
made it a surprise.
He got excited. You know, he let one go a little early with that, and you know, a little premature.
Why did they do that? Okay, why did they save it for the 80,000 people? 1,000%.
Because it would have gone over. So it would have gone over a lot better on television that way too. So
I think it would have went over excellent with the 80,000 people and the people that are going to pay for the all-in to actually watch it. I really do. But no, here or there, I guess I'm not the booking manager there, and yeah, I think a lot of us would have made a different decision there. But they had, they still had the crowbars in hand, and then they hit Ray Phoenix in the head with it. Useless did. Hit him in the head. They didn't show it, but they hit him in the head, supposedly. He was laying on the ground. They take him out in the ambulance, or they take him out on the stretcher. They put him in the ambulance, Ray Phoenix. And then Renee walks in to go talk to Eddie Kingston. He literally says on live TV, "Get the fuck out of my face." Literally tells her that on live TBS TV.
Yeah, that was wild. That was wild.
I was like, what?
I did not see that one
coming.
coming.
What did he just say?
Right.
And then he just said, "You want me to fix it? We'll fix it at the pay-per-view. That's where we'll fix it." And then this morning, I read that some of the card for All In might change.
Right.
Which they've already done it twice now.
Mm-hmm.
Once here in a little bit. We'll talk about that here in a couple minutes. And then this match right now, they're saying Ray Phoenix is not going to be at All In. So, who's going to be their tag partner?
I don't know who their tag partner's going to be. Who do you think their tag partner's going to be?
Well, okay, so originally, wasn't it just going to be, I thought it was supposed to be just 5 of them, because they had the Pudding Twin, Cassidy, had...
I'm sorry, I snorted.
Zero Miro, Kingston, and then they had Phoenix, and then wasn't there somebody else that was down there with them? Because I thought there were 7 people all together.
There was. I just can't remember. I can't remember right now.
Because I can't remember. So now they're just changing up the card like whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
3 days before, 4 days before. Actually, All In comes out, they're just changing the card.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the first change. This is the second change, guys. Second one, okay? So we'll go to the interview again where Sammy's standing in the back with Renee. And, you know, Daddy Magic comes out. Daniel Garcia comes out. And so does the guy with that always combs his hair. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. Call him the hair comb guy because he always has the hair. He always combing his hair.
You said the hair comb guy. Dead.
Yeah, the whole hair comb guy. That's what I don't know your name, so that's what I'm gonna call you. They say Daddy Magic tells him, well, how are you gonna help somebody that said yes to Don Callis, and the only thing that ruined it was the painting? Sammy says, friends make bad choices. You got to be there for your friends. Mm-hmm. The hair card guy says, well, will Jericho be there for you?
Right.
Well, end of the segment.
Mm-hmm.
So, good little interview, trying to put some heat on Sammy a little bit. And definitely trying to get heat on them. So I see what they're trying to do there. That's more of a storyline than a lot of people are having in AEW. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to lie to you on that because there's not too many storylines unless you go to Collision going on. So they go to the contract signing with Will whatever, or Ospreay. and Jericho and Sammy, and Don Callis is with them. So they start talking, and Will Ospreay, I'll say this much: he does better promo than Kenny Omega. I'm sorry to say, guys. Kenny Omega sounds like a douche when he talks. It sounds like he tries to be Triple H because he sounds like he wants to be like.
He wants to be the game. He doesn't want to work on Tuesday night.
If you don't believe me, just listen to Kenny talk. He sounds like a douchebag. I'm sorry to say. His ring work is great, except for some of the corny stuff, like I said, that he did in Japan. Okay, but he says that he's beating Omega, a dude from Japan, and he's going to beat Chris Jericho within 2 months. Good promo, great promo, how he wants to stack his money and put his stepson through school and stack his money, and his contract's going to be up in 6 months at New Japan. And that he is better than The Elite, better than Danielson, better than CM Punk, and even better than Jericho.
I like Will Ospreay. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been following him for a while. He's the current IWGP United States champion, which he's rebranded as the IWGP UK Championship, which I thought was really awesome. I enjoy his work. I think it's gonna be a really good match. I'm a Chris Jericho fan from way back. I've loved Chris Jericho's work in ECW, for Christ's sake, So I mean, I've rolled with him for a long time, so I'm pretty excited for that match.
Well, I'll say this. Like, I'm excited for the match itself, also. But does Jericho have the endurance that he used to?
No.
You know what I mean?
No, not really.
Are they gonna be? Is he gonna be able to do the stuff that he does on the top rope by flipping people off with somebody that's probably going to be tired 10 minutes into the match?
Right, so...
And I'm not putting nothing against Jericho. He's an older gentleman, obviously. We've all getting older. It's not like anybody gets younger, you know what I mean? So...
That'd be dope if he did get younger, though.
Well, I mean, that's my biggest thing about it is, how is Jericho going to perform in the match? I'm not really too worried about Will Ospreay. But this is like going to be, I'm not going to lie, this is literally going to be like the real first match that I watched of him live. I've seen highlights of him. I've watched some of the matches back with Kenny Omega that he had. I've watched Will Ospreay a couple different times, and he is a very good worker inside. He makes you feel everything that he does. He knows how to connect with his crowd. And last night, he proved to me, and my biggest thing in pro wrestling in general is if you can cut a damn promo, 1,000%. If you can cut a promo, let's say this. I'll say this right now, okay? NXT, I may not know a lot of their names, and I may not know a lot about it, and the matches still may be kind of so-so on some of them, but every single person that WWE has in there, except for maybe 2 to 3 people, they can all cut promos. Now, when you go to AEW, it's really hit and miss, and I'm sorry to say that. I like AEW. I know I'm wearing WWE gear right now, but I got my AEW gear at the house. Trust me, I got an AEW hat. I got Acclaim shirts. I got MJF. MJF is my favorite wrestler right now in pro wrestling.
He's the best in the world right now.
It's MJF, and then it's still the Tribal Chief, and then LA Knight. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just being honest with you guys. And the thing that I just think that it's going to be a really good match, and Will Ospreay really proved something that I've never seen. I've never seen him cut a promo, so that's what I really liked. And then they went to Jericho, and Jericho's promo was really, really good because he spoke truth. He said that he talked to Will Ospreay about 5 years ago, where Metzler and a whole bunch of the other pro wrestling journalists were writing that if he keeps doing the stuff that he's doing, by the age of 30, he's going to be in a wheelchair like his favorite pro wrestler, the Dynamite Kid. Dynamite Kid was awesome, but he was really reckless and he destroyed his body really fast. And I think everybody knows that if you've never watched any of those matches. He's the one who really innovated a lot of this stuff that is going on now.
Yeah, he sure did.
With the fast pace, outside ring, bumping over, getting thrown over the railing, stuff like that. Go back and watch some of the Dynamite Kids matches. But he did destroy his body. So I thought that was great how he brought that up. And then how this match was supposed to happen in 2021. But the crowd size proves it. It was it's bigger than any WrestleMania, Tokyo Dome, and all that stuff, you know what I mean? He brought up every single wrestling event that has happened. And says, if you can beat me, prove it. Slaps the mic out of his hand. Will Ospreay slaps the mic out of his hand, and then the fight breaks out. Good promos. Probably, I would have to say maybe the best and second best segment on there tonight, on last night's show, because there wasn't really too many. To me, there wasn't really too many highlights. We'll go over that when we go over the show of finalize. Then they go to the interview, and you know this with Adam Cole. They show all the best friend highlights. Exactly. Jan talks about being best friends, wrestling is best friend, and best friend this, best friend that. And then Renee hits him with the hard questions. Is there any cracks in your guys' friendship? And he gets all mad, and he's like, there's no cracks in our friendship, and walks off.
Mm-hmm.
Blah, blah, blah.
Seen this all before. The no cracks. I've seen it all before.
So I'm going to switch it up here, and I'll let you talk about this match since you actually liked the match, and then I'll go over what I didn't like and what I did like about this match. So we're going to talk about the Darby Allin, Nick Wayne versus Swerve Strickland in AR Fox.
I liked the match.
Really
I liked it. I just liked
go over the match. You break it down from what you liked all the way down.
Okay, so I liked the match just because, Nick Wayne's really young. He's green. I think he looked really good in the ring. I'm somewhat partial to Darby Allin. I always love anything with Darby Allin in it. I thought that the spot that they did in the corner off the middle turnbuckle was really brutal looking. It looked really great. That spot where, Nick Wayne's face was basically stomped in looked really good. It could have been dangerous, but it looked really great. Truly enjoyed that bit. I just thought it was a really solid match all the way around. The only thing I didn't like about it was the confusing ending. That weird. There was 4 kickouts in a row, and then there was that weird roll up sequence where Nick wins, and I was just kind of like, really, bro? What the? So that part where I was kind of watching that was a what the fuck section of that. But overall, I give the match a solid B+. Really enjoyed it. Me and my son had a couple of mark-out moments. That's when I was watching AEW with my son before he went to sleep. So he went to sleep before the show, which tells you my kid went to sleep before the show was over. But it was a really good match. And then with Christian coming out at the end and cutting the promo and just really giving it to Nick, and then that bit where he told him, this is gonna be the second time you're gonna see the coffin lid close and somebody you love. I was like, oh my god! Me and my son looked at each other like, dude. So really enjoyed that. I really thought that was a great segment. That was probably the one I was most in tune for, at least during the evening last night. Not gonna lie to you. But what did you think about it? What points during the match did you enjoy?
So overall, I thought the best part of the match was Nick's mom. Honestly, because there was a couple of spots where I don't know if you remember when they were on the apron, and they supposed to have Nick. Swerve was supposed to kick Nick.
Oh yeah, they botched that.
Over, and AR was supposed to do Darby on the other side, and Darby kind of missed it. He almost literally racked himself like you do when you jump off something. Yeah, he almost racked himself.
Yeah, he did.
That was a bit of a miss, but I can't really say nothing about that because stuff in the ring is sometimes it's hard to time. You know what I mean?
There was a lot of bodies moving in a small space during that moment too, though. So.
Yes. So, and then the thing that I didn't like and the thing that I didn't understand is when they went fighting through the crowd, and it wasn't a no disqualification, it wasn't a no count out, it wasn't a hardcore match, it wasn't a anything kind of that match. And Aubrey's just standing there not counting.
They just kind of let that one ride. They just kind of let it ride on that one. And I hate when that happens because I'm like, bro, there's rules for a reason.
Yes, and I mean, like, and I understand that you guys are portraying to the regular marks out there, but the people that actually have watched for years, or the smart marks, or people that have actually booked or done anything like that, they notice things like that, and leaves a lot of us just saying, what is going on? Why is there no counting? I mean, I guess you can enjoy it if you want to, and I mean, I did enjoy it a little bit, but at the same time, I was still kind of like, what's this? Because I mean, we're doing the show now. I got to critique. I got to put my 2 cents in. So there's my 2 cents on that. But like you said, I thought the best spot was you missed. I think you missed the spot where he suplexed Darby Allin into the chair.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Fox did,
Mm-hmm.
and then he straight up stomped on his chest, swerved straight, stomped on Darby's chest. Really another dangerous move, really reckless. And I'm okay with the recklessness and some of that stuff, but at the same time, like, you guys are trying to draw money here. And I mean, this has probably been the best time since the 90s that wrestling's been drawing money on both sides and actually having two companies that are actually making money like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's iffy. And I don't know if you've ever seen the show The Wrestler.
Oh, that movie? Oh, I
That was
love that
Vice.
movie. Yeah.
No, not the movie. It's a show called The Wrestler that was on Vice.
I might have seen that here and there, but it's been.
Because they had an up and coming of the stars, which Drew McIntyre and Darby Allin were both on.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another thing too. If you guys don't know what that is, go to Hulu. If you have Hulu, or even maybe searching on YouTube, just type in The Wrestler on Vice TV.
Mm-hmm.
Check that out.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
And then, here comes the segment that we really wanted to talk about, because we definitely both have some major opinions on this. The FTR and the Young Bucks number 3 match to see who is the best tag team. First off, the Young Bucks sounded like douchebags.
That interview was so cringe, like.
I'll let you go off about it, then I'll put my 2 cents in, because I'm sitting here, I'm thinking of all my thoughts together. So let me gather my thoughts. Go ahead and put your 2 cents in, because I got a lot to say about this and a lot to say about a lot of things about any of this.
There's just a lot of things that like the Young Bucks had to say that really like kind of turned me off. The give me their flowers bit. Like the Young Bucks have gotten their flowers time and time again. Nobody needs to give them anything. So the fact that they seemed like they were reaching for validation still, and I'm like, it's so unnecessary. Like they just seem so douchey, and I like, you guys are supposed to be the faces, and you guys are just extra douchey right now. And I just couldn't, like, it was so cringe. And I'm watching the interview, and then like I stopped watching it and I got on my phone, and I was like, nope, I can't do the cringe anymore. Like this is ridiculous. And so.
Well, let me. I want to go in a little bit in depth about some of this stuff, but I'm going to say that you know where the flowers thing came from, right? Where they say they should be brought their flowers. You know where that came from? Yeah. So the people that don't know, it was on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm still going to call it Twitter.
It's Twitter.
Yeah. Matt Hardy put a post up saying that his friends deserve flowers. Like his friends need validation, being EVPs of a company. Like they need validation of anything. What? I know you guys are not Cody Rhodes. We understand this. And that's probably why Tony Khan didn't get rid of you, because he already lost Cody. 1,000%. And it would be horrible for him to lose all 3 of the EVPs that started the company. 1,000%.
Mm-hmm.
But the more and more that I watched the Young Bucks, I did like the Young Bucks back when they were in, I think it was TNA. I think that's where I seen them at, weren't they in TNA?
Mm-hmm.
At one point in time, or was that New Japan I seen them in?
They were in New Japan, but it was TNA too. Yeah, it was both, bro.
Okay, so it might have been TNA, because I know I watched them on something, and I did like them at first. But then I figured their wrestling style out, okay? Flip, super kick, flip, super kick, flip. BET trigger, match is over. Okay, figured their style out right away. There's no technical stuff. There's not really. I mean, there's body slams once in a while, and suplexes once in a while and things like that. But at the end of the day, these guys are just out for themselves. And I see it, and they're going to be out for themselves at the entire point in time. Because why would they put themselves in a match in Wembley Stadium for the tag team belts, which everyone knows that FTR is the better tag team?
Yeah.
So I don't understand that part, first off. And then are they going to try to push themselves into the main event because they can do flips and MJF doesn't? That's another thing I could see coming to happen. I don't know. The Young Bucks just keep looking a little more douchey and a little more douchey to me every time they come around. And I'm sorry, wrestling fans, for the ones that like them and think they deserve their flowers. That's just your opinion, okay? But we'll go on to another note. I thought that was a horrible segment. Wasn't really anything that no one really said anything that we didn't know. Let's just say that. Okay?
Right.
So we go into the next match, which was Ruby Soho versus Sky Blue. I like both of these women. They have incredible talent. They both know how to wrestle very, very, very well. They're pushing Sky Blue more. Fans are loving her, and we know why the fans love her. We just won't bring it up on here. Well,
they were super into that match, man. They were super into it. Fans enjoyed it. Anytime the fan participation's up high, then like it translates better on TV. So,
like you said, the fans are into it, and that's something that the WWE's losing with the women.
Right.
They're not into the matches like they are for the women matches at AEW. They are. I don't know if it's just because of the style of the wrestling or they just keep putting the same people together all the time on WWE, but the fans are definitely way more into the women's matches than they are into WWE. So that is one positive that they do have going for them, even though their matches are just thrown together at random. So I will say that much. It was a good match. I thought it was a great match overall. There was like 3 reverse pinfalls in a row, and then Ruby ended up just winning overall the match. So that's how that match went. And then they went into that Roderick Strong interview, which I think is just, he's been doing that weird friend, hurting himself kind of gimmick, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He kicked MJF Fighter last week and hurt his foot, you know what I mean. And then you got the other 2 goofs that are standing in the background not saying anything, so I don't get their stilo.
That was so confused, and for someone that hasn't watched AEW for a little bit and turning that on, and you're going, another what the fuck moment?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this shit? Like,
another what the fuck, and then pretty much just said that MJF and Adam Cole are going to show their true colors at the pay-per-view. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy.
But I got on my phone during that portion too. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, and when you lose fan engagement to cell phones, like, bruh.
Well, no, that's exactly what happens too, and it's just bad when that happens, just in general. Because we'll say this: if you confuse them, you lose them. And if you get them, if they get bored, you know what I mean. If you're getting bored of a freaking wrestling show, obviously there's definitely some booking problems. Then they went into the vignette. This is one of the, I wouldn't say the vignette's the highlight. I would say the next segment is, but they went into the vignette of the House of Black coming out, first showing off them beating them for the Trios titles and everything like that. And then I thought it was great that they showed them putting the boots again in the trash compactor and then compacted the trash. The next for the match, I thought it was great because the Acclaim came out serious this time. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Just laughing, no scissoring going on, no battle rapping, no nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? They came out to fight. So that's one thing I really did enjoy about that part because it was something totally different than what they have done. You know what I mean? So I love that part. I ain't gonna lie to you. I love that. They called out the House of Black. Obviously, House of Black comes around, surrounds the ring like Judgment Day did on Monday. They start beating the crap out of Bowens and Max Caster. I was about to say Bowens and Anthony, but that's the exact same person. They started beating the crap out of him, and then Billy Gunn, you hear the music hit, the Acclaim, top of the chain, you know what I mean? So Billy Gunn comes running down, slides in the ring, Daddy Ass clears the ring, he grabs the microphone, like you said, he was shaking pretty bad. If fans didn't notice, he was shaking pretty bad. I don't know if it was because he was anxious, excited, or if he has something going on with him. I hope it's one of those two and not the third one. But his promo saying that you guys disrespected my boots, throwing them in the trash. I'm back. We're challenging you for the trios titles at Wembley Stadium, but Daddy Ass won't be there. And this is the part that got me, and I'll get your 2 cents on this here in a second. So when he said that, it made me think, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? So I was waiting. I was literally waiting. This is the market me. Market me wanted to hear, oh, you didn't know?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
But then when he said, Daddy Ass won't be there, Badass Billy Gunn will be there, I'm not going to lie. That was just as good to me as hearing, oh, you didn't know?
Yeah.
That was just as good for me.
Yeah, I'm cool.
1000%.
I'm cool with that. You know, he still looks like he did '98. I mean, he's still in some pretty amazing shape. So I'm pretty excited, especially if this ends up being the end for him. It'll be a good way for him to go out and shit. So.
Exactly. I think that would be really good. And then before we get into the last match of the night,
Oh my God.
let's talk about this because I think you remember this. That was announced last week on Wednesday and Saturday show that Jack Perry was supposed to show up on Dynamite and retire the FTW Championship, right? They obviously don't know what they're doing with their time, and they don't know what they're doing with their booking. Because this is like the second or third time that they've had to push something back. They just did this a couple weeks ago. I think it was the Sky Blue versus... It was for the Women's Championship to see the tournament. But they had to move that match from Wednesday to Saturday because they don't know how to manage their time. So once again, they don't know how to manage their TV time. And that got pushed back to Saturday. So if you wanted to see the championship get retired, now you got to tune in Saturday. What's your opinion on that? What do you think about them not being able to really handle their TV time?
I just feel like that means that there isn't a wrestling person in charge. I feel like the backstage is run by the fucking Indians, and that there isn't a chief back there, and the chief is Tony frickin' Khan, who, like we both said, is literally just one of us with a lot of money. So that was a prime example right there of that situation where, oh look, there's a giant Mark with a lot of money. He doesn't know what he's doing. And
had no idea what he was doing. He was going off of Cody's ideas at first, and once Cody left, now he doesn't have any because he doesn't have anybody that really knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, he doesn't have any wrestling people. He needs
a... say that within the Young Bucks, like, what the hell are they fucking doing?
He needs
nothing about pro wrestling.
He needs a Dusty Rhodes or Bruce Pritchard, or he needs somebody like that in the back, and it's not happening. You can totally tell that it's not happening. So.
Well, and I mean, he does have some guys in the back, but what control are they really having? Because it doesn't really seem like anybody has control. Seems like I said, the Kings seems like they just kind of slap things together on Wednesday nights. And if you want to actually watch a real wrestling show, you got to tune in Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, what do we say? The inmates are running the asylum, so I don't know what you expect to have happen here. Really.
Is this another WCW? Let's just say that.
In some respects, yes, but in a lot of respects, no. I don't think...
Well, no, because I still think WCW was still more structured in general.
Well, it also had a different... What a lot of people fail to forget or fail to remember about WCW's downfall is that AOL didn't want to have nothing to do with WCW. And at the end of the day, that AOL Time Warner merger really killed shit for WCW. That's really what killed them. Because AOL was like, we don't want our name attached to that. Oh my God, could you please get rid of that? And kind of really.
Well, that and losing $60 million.
Yeah.
When you had a profit of $100 million the year before.
Yeah, but like here we are again though with a rich mark, and Ted Turner, as we all know, was an extremely rich mark. The only reason why he even sold WCW is because of the AOL shit. And had it not been for AOL, he probably still would be on paper and the man that owned WCW if he didn't have to sell because of the AOL. Because you think about after Black Friday when Vince showed up on TBS TV, and it wasn't long after that where Ted Turner called him up and was like, "Hey, I'm in the wrestling business." That was 88,
That's
89.
true. They cut him out.
Mm-hmm. So
that's very true.
If AOL hadn't stepped in and was like, "We want you to get rid of this," he probably wouldn't have gotten rid of it.
Well, they finally brought it back though because there's no more AOL.
Right, and that's the thing. So now you're like, gosh, like you did all that, did this merger, and now AOL doesn't even exist. Like,
yeah, it's true. And well, I mean, like a lot of the wrestlers said, they could have probably bought WCW for the price that Vince bought. I think it sold for like $3 or $4 million.
Same with ECW sold.
And everything.
ECW sold for 1.5. WCW sold for $2 million. He spent $3.5 million on it. That's a drop in the bucket. That's nothing.
Well, that's what I mean, bro. And it just seems like with this, like here's another one. Here's the last example of not knowing what the hell they're doing. So you've already announced 0 Hour against the Aussie Open versus Better Than You, Baby.
Mm-hmm.
You've already announced this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But then you're going to go into Dynamite and have the main event be Aussie Open versus the Hardys for the ROH titles. 90% of us already knew what was going to happen. It was a decent match, I'll say that much. It was decent, but you can definitely tell Matt Hardy can't move like he used to, and Jeff Hardy is beat up to hell. And Matt Hardy, he keeps saying on Twitter that he's just as good as back in his days. And I don't think any of us will agree with that.
That fool looked so stiff it wasn't even funny. Like, he just looked stiff. Like,
well, my main part, like I told you last night, after we watched the show and we bullshitted, I said, well, what the hell was that? He suplexes, who did Matt Hardy suplex off? It was the littler guy.
The little one from Aussie Open. Yes, we don't know their names. My bad. I never heard of them before last night. Excuse me. So.
Yeah, so the little guy and the big guy is what we're going to refer them to, okay? And it's not the big guy right back, all right? So just remember that.
Right.
So he suplexes him off the top rope. So Jeff gets up there, does his little hand thing, he's going to do the little swanton. The guy's way too far out, so he has to dive.
Which was crazy to me. I'd never... Like, I was looking for the swanton. It's going to be dope. And he did a body splash like the Ultimate Warrior.
And that wasn't on Jeff on that one.
No, it wasn't.
That's on Matt not being able to push back hard enough to get him in the right position.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once again, Matt Hardy saying that he's just as good as his WWE days. I'm sorry, sir. I've watched you for years. I loved every body of your work in WWE in the very beginning, even a lot of your stuff in TNA, but even your stuff at the very end of TNA was, why do you think we went to WWE? They were like, we're okay on this. And then who brought you in? And who do you keep saying deserves flowers just because they brought you in? That's all I'm going to say on that.
Man, oh my God. So the show closes out with... the Hardys roll out of the ring, and then MJF and Adam Cole make their way down, and I mean, that part was cool. And then there was some tension between Adam Cole and MJF, and maybe there's going to be some punches thrown here. At least is what I thought, but that didn't turn out to be the case. But just for the record, just so we know for future reference, that's Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher for Aussie Open. That's who they are. Kyle Fletcher is the little one, and Mark Davis is the big one. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Mark Davis. Okay, so Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis.
Yeah,
so
there we go.
They'll be standing off against Better Than You, Baby, and 0 Hour, and I like the ending of it, like you said, because it was, they were going to do the double clothesline on the big guy, and then he rolled out. Then MJF stands up to do the kangaroo kick that he just invented. He gets rolled out, and then MJF and him, they have a standoff in the middle of the ring, and he holds the belt up, and Adam Cole extends his hand. And MJF just walks by him. So I'm just like, ooh, this is going to be a good build.
I was like, ooh.
My favorite part is when he put the ring on his finger.
Yeah.
The Dynamite champion ring. I thought he was going to hit Adam Cole. He takes it off, and then they go back and hug.
Oh, I was waiting for that. I was like, knock him out. Knock him out.
So this is going to be one of the most craziest, and one of the best matches that we're going to watch at Wembley Stadium. I really am excited for this match, and I really am excited for this match. I have to say that.
I thought overall the show, for a go-home show before the biggest pay-per-view in the company's history, it was probably about a C. It was a little lackluster. There could have been more fireworks for me personally. Like I did say, I did mark out, but I always mark out just because I'm a fan. I watch it like I'm still 10 years old and I've never seen it before. So, and that's with every show. Whether it's an independent show or at WrestleMania, I'm always going to watch it like I've never, watched it before. But they, from a go-home show standpoint before your biggest pay-per-view of all time, is that a show that is indicative of that moment? No, it wasn't. Not even close. So, like I said, I give it about a C. My favorite moment of the night was the tension between Adam Cole and MJF. I really enjoyed that segment. It did kind of leave some cliffhanger for you. Worst segment of the night was the Rey Fenix and Mox situation. That was just at best. The Young Bucks interview was just atrocious. It was so douchey, and I couldn't.
We're the EVPs. We brought you in.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling that, bro.
No, dumb shit. So overall, I'd probably give this show a C. Also, maybe a C minus. The best part to me was Christian Cage.
Yeah.
Just the whole way they said. Okay, so let's say this, because I didn't break down the rest of the match from my point of view. So I thought it was kind of stupid that they fired AR Fox and it was a test.
I thought that was kind of whack.
I thought it was more or less saying Sting was saying like, I don't want to wrestle AR Fox. That's what I kind of looked at it as from a booker perspective. I'm not gonna lie, because Sting's 60. And I mean, he doesn't want to be doing all that stupid, high, crazy flying shit because he doesn't have to do anything, anybody.
Excuse me.
But thought that was dumb. But I loved it when Christian came out and he told Nick Wayne, like he just pretty much let into him like he did when he did it to Jack Perry. And like you said, the closing line was, "Stay away from the pay-per-view because that coffin door is going to close on someone else you love." That was one of the hardest lines I have ever heard. And then he tells his mom to call him, like always.
I mean,
So thought that was probably the best part of it, just because Christian Cage, like I think me and you were talking about this last night, he reminds me, and okay, so let's say this too. I forgot, before we even get into that. I hope the match is Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage, not the big dinosaur dude, not Dinosaurus or Luchasaurus, pee-pee, caca, okay? I hope it's not him. I hope it is Christian Cage versus Sting and Darby Allin. I really hope that. But he reminds me of Christian Cage reminds me of an old James Bond villain. And Luchasaurus just needs to stay in the background, stand there like Jaws used to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just go, whatever he does, you know? So, that is just one thing. Because if they put Luchasaurus in the match, it's not going to be a very good match. It's never been a good match with him. I'm sorry to say. he can do flips, and he's a big guy, and he can do flips and things like that. Yeah, but he's still kind of on choreography.
Mm-hmm.
Worst part, like you said, Young Bucks interview and FTR. Didn't really care for that at all because it didn't make no sense. If you guys were going to talk trash to each other like you guys did and try to get underneath each other's skin, why did FTR come out and help you guys? Okay, so that was my point on that. I thought that was the lamest part. I'll have to say another highlight was actually seeing the crowd into the women's matches.
Mm-hmm.
That was a highlight because you don't ever see that in WWE hardly. Like we were talking earlier about when Chelsea and Piper out there.
It's like they all get up and go to the bathroom and they're like, oh, I'm good, time to go potty.
So they need to let the women on WWE more, like the undercard, talk more and promote themselves more.
Because I have no connection to them. I have no connection to them. I don't care about them. And it's not because they're not good women. They just haven't been properly booked. So when you haven't been properly booked and someone hasn't taken the time to make sure that you connect to the effing crowd, then I don't care. And that's the problem with a lot of the newer stars that I'm seeing is I'm not connected to them in any way because, I mean, every star had their moment before they got huge, you know. Shawn Michaels was Marty Jannetty. You know, Stone Cold Steve Austin was his Austin 316 speech. John Cena beat the Big Show at WrestleMania 20, and I mean, everybody had their moment. Everybody had that moment that connected you to them. It's hard to get connected to a lot of these newer superstars because they just haven't had that moment that transcends moments where they're bigger than life in that moment. And I'm still waiting for a lot of people to have it. I think that was always my problem with Roman Reigns is that his moments were always forced. I mean, he beat The Undertaker, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, that was whack. Like, you know, it wasn't an organic moment. It felt forced. It felt bottled, and I never really cared for it. I love Roman Reigns right now. I love his work. He's one of the absolute best in the business. He's a very close second to MJF, but it wasn't organic. His rise to the top is very corporately manufactured, and I don't like corporate manufactured BS, bro. I just don't. So.
No, and I'll have to say the difference between AEW and WWE is with Stardom, at least. At least with AEW, the crowd or the wrestlers AEW lets the wrestlers try to connect with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Where WWE, it's kind of forced.
It is.
The only one that's kind of natural within WWE in the last couple months, besides when Roman Reigns finally switched to heel and did what he was good at, like he did on NXT, was LA Knight. He's the only one that's really hasn't been pushed down our throat. And they try to push Dom down our throat, and we can all say that they didn't, but they try to push him down our throat with his dad. Yeah. They did.
Yeah.
They really did. That's why they had the tag team championships. We're not dumb, you know what I mean? They were really trying to push him as a babyface. But finally, the organic happened with the heel stuff and putting him with the right people. They weren't stupid. They weren't dumb about it. They put him with the right people to make it good and to make it solid. Mm-hmm. But if they wouldn't have done that, then I don't know what they would have had. Honestly, he'd probably be on NXT just like Corbin Barry because they don't know what to do with him anymore.
Right.
Or Mustafa Ali. They don't know what to do with him anymore.
Right. Which is sad. Sad.
Yes. Yes. And I don't know why, if they have cruiserweights in there, I don't know why we don't bring a cruiserweight belt back. I mean, come on now. We have enough. And people do like the high-flying stuff. You see it, obviously. Everyone tries to bring the flowers to the Young Bucks because they flip and super kick and flip and super kick.
But, oh my God!
And I don't mean to bring them up specifically. It's just that's.
Yeah, you did. You wouldn't have brought them up if you didn't mean to.
I brought it up because it's true.
I know it's true.
It's true though.
I know it's true.
I speak the truth every single time, and I mean there's people in WWE that are the exact same way. You know what I mean? There's certain wrestlers that people like, and some people are just like, huh? How do you like them? I mean, it's not that I hate the Young Bucks. It's just I see what's actually going on with them, and I see the douchebagness, and I see the I'm better than you because Tony Khan signed your paycheck. You know
Oh
what I mean? It's really the truth, and that's how some of these guys are in the business, man.
my God. I love it though. Like, I'm not mad at you or nothing. I think it's great. I just oh my goodness. I can't say I ever was a fan of the Young Bucks. Kenny Omega, on the other hand, I love him. I think he's wonderful, but I can't say.
Nothing.
Yeah, I can't say that I am a fan, but I'm also a fan of the Bullet Club too. So then there's that. Like there's just a lot of stuff going on, with them. I'm not invested in the Young Bucks. I'm not. I mean, if I'm gonna pick tag teams right now that I'm invested in, I really love FTR. I loved their work when they were the Revival. I love the Usos, even though they're not really a tag team right now, and all that bloodline stuff that's going on. I actually, like, now that we're done reviewing the shows, I actually kind of want to ask you some questions. How do you feel about the direction of the Bloodline story, like where it's gone over the course of the last few weeks since SummerSlam, the swerve at SummerSlam? We didn't get to talk about that because obviously we weren't doing the show before then, but let's go into that because Roman's coming up on 3 years on the 30th. Is the reign stale? Is it time to move on? Are we over it? Like how do you feel about that?
Well, I don't really think it's Roman himself. I think it's the way that they're putting the storyline together. Because after they got rid of Sammy,
It hasn't been the
it
same.
was okay.
It hasn't been the
Yeah,
same.
but it was okay. Like they were still doing some stuff. Like okay, they lost the titles to them. Roman's mad. Like he's calling them.
They
Like, a
haven't
disgrace
even
to the
really
family.
gone
But
back
my
for
thing,
the titles.
well, the thing, my part of that is, if you're sad about them not having the tag team titles, Solo hasn't even competed for a title, not even the IC
He
or
hasn't
the
competed
United
really for
States.
anything. He's just like,
No, he's just there.
yeah, like he's just, what are
He's
you
just there to go.
doing with him?
Yeah,
Like,
like yeah. So like,
he
I don't
doesn't
understand
talk.
that part
He
of it.
doesn't beat. He doesn't wrestle nobody. He doesn't do shit. This fool just
No.
here. You feel me? Like,
Yeah, so I mean, like him getting mad about them losing the titles, I get, but at the same time, you're gonna be like you're a disgrace to the family. Well, what about Solo? He hasn't even done anything yet.
right? He
Well,
ain't did
you're
nothing.
there.
He's still green,
Yeah,
for Christ's
so
sake. Like,
really green still for WWE status. And then when he talks on the mic, his voice don't match his body type.
I know, it's so weird. I'd be like,
Well,
bro,
it's almost like Abdullah. You know what I mean? When Abby talks, when the Butcher talks, it's almost the exact same. Like,
yeah,
really, but
it's weird.
yeah, it's just weird to hear him talk. But so it was going okay, and then they left the bloodline, and then Jay wants to be the tribal chief, and then Jimmy shows up and kicks him. And then that's where they started losing me. Well, not really losing me. It was that following segment that Friday where it just kind of just, I don't want to say it lost me completely, but it was just kind of like, well, we went through all of this just to end up here.
Right. Right.
Because the way that Jimmy was just like, I didn't want you to be like him. I didn't want you to be an asshole. I didn't want you to be manipulative. Da 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 da. Like, okay, I get that. Okay, but in my mind, it would have been better to be like, yeah, I'm back with Roman. I'm the right hand man now. I'm the main event, Jimmy Uso. You know what I mean? That would have been a little bit better writing. I know it would have been really predictive. Like, it would have been predictive as hell. But at least we would have had somewhere to go. But I see what they kind of did just because Jey Uso's contract ends, last week? And he has a 5-day, or it ended on Sunday. Well, technically they said it ends tomorrow, I think, his 5-day contract for not wrestling ends. So that's why people are speculating that Jay might end up going as Joshua Fatu onto AEW's All In. Which,
that would be
lit. Matches are changing. Well, they're saying matches are changing around too. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about the second change, where Well, we did talk about the second change where they fired A.R. Fox and now Christian's in the match.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a second time they've already changed 2 cards on this 80,000 person card. My thing is, why did you announce the card at all? You already had 80,000 tickets sold. So no matter what you would have gave them, they would have been happy with because they didn't know what the fuck was going on. But that's just my opinion. So back to the Bloodline story when Jay said, I'm out of SmackDown, I'm out the Bloodline, I'm out of SmackDown, I'm out WWE. Now, where's everything going to lead to? Are they going to bring Cody Rhodes over to SmackDown? Because I can't see LA Knight beating Roman. I can't see LA Knight beating Roman.
No matter how hard he gets pushed to the moon, that is so unbelievable right now. It doesn't even make sense. Like, you saying that to me is laughable. And I love LA Knight. I think he's wonderful. I think he's fucking the shit. He's the best thing going next to the champions.
I think he could be the champion Monday night, Raw champion. Definitely Raw champion, definitely. But to beat Roman Reigns' reign, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Like, I just pulled a Russo there, bro. I'm sorry. Like, I can't see him. I can't see him losing the title to LA Knight. I love LA Knight, and I will go, yeah, all day long. And I'll say, let me talk to you. Yeah, all day long. But beating Roman, no. Not laughable, but just no. You can't. You have to have somebody that's been there, that everybody loves and goes to pay to see, like I said earlier. Everyone would think that they're paying to go see Seth Rollins. No, they're not. They're paying to go see Cody. They really are. It's
laughable in the respect that he hasn't been built to be that type of person yet. And he hasn't even scored the big one yet either, and that's the other thing. Like,
yes, you definitely, we all know this, you have to take the steps. You have to win either the US title or the IC title first. And even for, like, let's say this, a person that does have the IC title right now, Luther, one of my favorites. Him beating Roman, laughable also.
It could be Big Match John.
Well, Ray has the title for...
Yeah, he's at the US, yeah. Now, right? But I'm saying it could be Big Match John.
John Cena?
Yes. He's coming back, too. It could be.
Well, we'll find out when he
that would be lit.
On, not this Friday, but next Friday, people, he'll be on SmackDown.
Because that would be the record breaker, too. That would be it. He'd pass Flair and everything, that's what I'm saying. Like, I could see that happening. Yeah. That'd be huge.
I don't know about that, though. Just
huge.
Cena in a couple interviews
has said that he
wrestling,
doesn't want to do
felt like but he even said himself he felt like he let down the fans at WrestleMania when he wrestled Austin Theory. He said it was a decent match, but he thought he could have done better. So that's what makes me question, I don't know. And I know they shouldn't bring The Rock in because I don't think anybody, like, I'm sorry to say I was a huge Rock fan back in the day.
I loved him, but for him to come back now, it's...
Yeah, to him to come back
plus,
now,
he's just not going to stay that long. He's not going to stay long term. He's not going to have a 3-year reign. He's already over 50. He's already over 50.
Is he in wrestling conditions?
No. And then, like, you know, all the other things that he does outside of acting, like, yeah, there's an actor's strike right now. It would make sense for Cena to come back. It would make sense for Batista to come back right now because of this actor's strike that's going on. It would make sense. But putting gold on them, putting them in main storylines with main characters, long term, no. Like, that doesn't make sense.
No, because they're not even part-timers. They're quarter-timers. Or one match and they're done for like the next 3-4 years again.
Or a period.
Yes. And then, so yeah, I don't know where they're gonna go with the Bloodline story. I hope they figure out something for it.
I know.
Because it was a really good
because it was so great for so long, and I just this last couple of months has been so stale, and I was like, oh.
Well, see, even with Mr. Money in the Bank, Senior Money in the Bank, I don't even see him trying to cash it in.
No, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just...
Even a big, let's say this is more of a laughable situation than LA.
That's laughable, too. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter who it is. it's laughable at best because not to discredit any of those guys, it's just the way they position Roman. Like he's just not gonna lay down for. It sounds stupid. It sounds dumb when you say, "Oh, Roman Reigns lost the title to Damian Priest." What? That sounds retarded. Like,
yeah, the only one that has the credibility because look what he's done when he left WWE. He did this other whole company. The only person that really deserves to beat Roman, and I think what a lot of people might agree, is Cody. And a lot of people wanted it to happen at last WrestleMania, but I already told everyone it's too soon. They go, why? Why is it too soon? Because there hasn't been a reign like this since the freaking 80s. Not even Stone Cold or The Rock. Not even two of the most popular wrestlers, iconic wrestlers.
Their title reigns combined don't match up to Roman's current run. That's what's really crazy. I'm like, bruh, like they're total. You could combine all the 10 Rock's reigns and all 6 Austin reigns, and they still aren't as long as Roman's current reign. Well, it is
exactly. and to be honest with you, I'm really happy they did it. I'm really happy they did do that. And Roman, when he came back in as the heel and everything else, I mean, that was the perfect time to do it. Now, if you would have did it as the big dog, oh my God, I don't think anybody would have been watching. I think WWE might have went out of business.
Yeah, I wouldn't have watched that shit.
They pushed the big dog so hard, no one cared. I didn't like the big dog. Now, when he came back as the tribal chief, oh yeah, that was when it was the best. That's when it's been the best.
See, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. I didn't mess with Roman Reigns until he came back and said, I'm in remission, y'all. And I was like, that's what's up. I'll fuck with you just because of that. So when he went full on heel and won the title at SummerSlam that year, I was really like, ooh. And then things got really good, towards the end of 2020, and he really his promo work
and everything like that building up to it.
The addition of Paul Heyman, the beef between Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar was masterfully done. The people always say, they Brock and Roman have fought too many times. But these last couple of times it made sense. Maybe before it didn't, but these last ones it made sense. And especially like with the element of Brock and Paul and the uncertainty between Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar and him still maybe wanting to be the advocate for the Beast Incarnate, and I love that. And I'm a big Paul Heyman guy. I would love to manage somebody and be a Paul Heyman guy myself. I think I have the ability. I could get on the mic and talk some crap, and I really feel like someone would benefit from my managerial skills. I'm just saying.
Well, I think a lot of the managers even will go past times like.
Well, my favorite manager of all time is Bobby the Brain.
Well, Bobby the Brain. I mean, like you had so many that were just great at what they did, but Paulie, he just takes it to another level.
Yeah, he's the best.
Like, I love Bobby the Brain.
I think Paul has now finally surpassed him, and
well, Heyman's like all of your favorite heel managers, like every single one of them twisted in together.
Except Paul Bearer. He's not Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer stands alone.
I don't think anybody can be Paul Bearer though, because he had that voice and all that other stuff. So there was
my Undertaker.
Yeah, there was a whole different element of Paul Bearer. I will say that. But he does kind of do that when he says the people's names, because he'd be like, the Undertaker, and really enforce it out.
Yeah.
Same thing where he does Roman Reigns.
Yeah, that was
a little bit of that effect with Paul Bearer, but just a deeper tone, and a different way of saying things.
Yeah, and
so like I said, he has a little bit of each. He's not dumb.
He's got weasel tendencies. He's got the intelligence. He's got the, he's got it all. Like
Cornette used to. You know what I mean?
You can
like Jimmy Hart.
He really does have it all, and I don't think he gets as much credit as he should. A lot of people think about ECW when they think about him. And I mean, like, good Lord, like, ECW's been gone for freaking 20 years, guys. Like, I mean...
And people still chant ECW.
Yeah, they do. And,
Hopefully here soon, people were chanting ST-Dub.
I'm glad that you said that. Yeah, I'm glad. I can't wait until there's some SG Dub merch out there. I really feel like this has the opportunity to take off. I really appreciate you for taking the time to, to launch this show with me, and we're passionate about this business, and now I get to talk crap about it, and I'm really excited for what the future has to offer, and I can't wait.
I just love this sport since I was a kid. One of the better things that have been going on. Like I said, back in the 90s was some of the best times with, WCW and WWE, or WWF at the time.
Yeah, that's when it was a shit.
Now we got two companies that are still doing two great things, and I love it. Let's just say that. And people, remember, the fans are the ones feuding with each other. The wrestlers, they're just making their money, being happy. There's two companies doing great. Trust me on that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the pro wrestlers that you ever meet at any of the signings, anything like that, will tell you the exact same. So before we cut it and everything like that, let's we want to promote one of the shows. And I'll have to give out a shout out to the provider.
My favorite show of the year.
If there wasn't no Primos, if it wasn't for the provider, Tyra, Johnny Crash, make sure you guys are looking up these names.
Yes.
Talk about them.
Bruce Wayne's the final boss. Balaam Lynx, Lilith Grimm, Adrian Grimm, the Savage Saint. God, there's so many of these guys.
SJ Chaos.
Yes. Yes.
There's so many of them. If it wasn't
Delta
for
Jr.
those people,
God, I could name people all day.
If it wasn't for those people, we wouldn't have been able to do anything. We wouldn't have pursued to do something like this. They were the ones who actually got us in the ring a little bit, and they got us to do some stuff, which takes it to a whole nother experience, guys. I'm telling you.
Oh man.
I may be a mark, but that stuff hurts.
I have to give a shout out to Ohio Valley and Doug Basham over at Ohio Valley, Al Snow. They just got a reality series that is premiering on Netflix in September called Wrestlers. That would be following Ohio Valley. I've actually had a chance to sit in on one of their training classes a couple years ago and cut a promo with the students, which was really awesome. So when you guys get a chance, look on Netflix, find that Wrestlers show. It's going to be awesome. You're going to get to see some behind the scenes stuff. And Ohio Valley feeds Impact these days. They used to feed WWE back in the day, but they feed Impact now. So a lot of those guys that are over in Ohio Valley will make their way to Impact here in the next couple of years or so. So it's fun. It was so awesome to go in there. I don't know if I really got to tell you about it. So you get to the facility, and when you get inside, there's a picture of Brock Lesnar over there, and there's a picture of John Cena right there, and then there's a picture of Batista, and then there's freaking Mark Henry's picture back there, and then because they have pictures all their alumni up and down the hallway, and it was just so cool to be in there. And then I got to run the sound on the show they did in Harlan, Kentucky. I rode in the ring truck with Doug Basham. We just talked wrestling. Oh man, it was just so awesome. We just talked wrestling the whole time, and it was just such a good time. Him and Adam Revolver and Tony Gunn's one of the trainers over there. Shout out to him too. Man, it's gonna be great to see you guys on TV, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to get in the ring with you and hang out with you. I mean, Doug Basham told us some great stories. I'm gonna tell them to you off the air. We might talk about him here on the show. I'd love to get him on the show. I'm gonna reach out to him and see if we can get him on the show. He can tell those stories himself, actually. So.
And for everybody that's listening across the nation and across the world, if you're not doing nothing, get September 16th and 17th. We have our friends and our local partners and local just friends in general. We'll just say that. We got Slave to the Death Match.
Oh my God.
It's 13th annual Slave to the Death Match. So if you're a huge deathmatch fan, come out and support the local talent. It's crazy.
It is a WrestleMania level event for deathmatch wrestling. It really is. It is
so
awesome.
Get online, look up Slave to the Death Match 14. There's tickets for sale. We want everybody to come out and come see that. And thank you, provider, for giving me the idea of our podcast name, Slave to Wrestling, because we're all slaves to wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan, we will try to watch every single program we can. If we can't reach them, we try to look on YouTube to see if we can find highlights. I know how all of us wrestling fans are, so that's why we named it STW, Slaves to Wrestling.
Yes, the show's we're gonna cover quite a few topics. We're gonna have our episodes where we talk about Dark Side of the Ring. We're gonna talk about some things that I've watched so many shoot interviews over the years, and I would love to have some here soon on this show. We're gonna be talking about Bruiser Brody. We're gonna be talking about New Jack. We're gonna be talking about Eddie the Strangler Lewis. We're gonna go all over the history of the wrestling business and talk about it. And we're gonna review shows. So you guys make sure that you stay tuned and check us out. It's going to be a fun time. So if you love wrestling like we do, you're going to enjoy it.
Wrestling is life. Let's just say that. Wrestling is life. We're with the shows. Remember, we're going to do weekly reviews of every single show. We didn't do one of SmackDown last week because we just barely came up with this idea literally like Monday night, Sunday night, something like that.
Hey, I just got on the phone and called him and I was like, bro, we need to make this happen. And so now we're actually making it happen. And so I think we actually probably need to record like 2 shows a week and cover everything. And we're probably going to, we'll get the logistics of everything figured out. So just stay tuned. And, if you listen this long, we greatly appreciate it because we know it's doggone. We're an hour and 55 in, bro. Like, we did almost make 2 hours. Like, we were like, well, we're going to make 2 hours. Like, yeah, we did. So.
Yeah, we make 2 hours of content definitely because, there's so much going into wrestling and you got to get your 2 cents into it because that's the whole entire point of doing this show is critiquing and complimenting things that we did like, things that we didn't like, things that we think wrestlers can work on. And it's the same with us. If there's something that you guys didn't like, let us know. If there's something that you love, let us know.
We would love for you to comment. You're going to be able to listen to this show on every streaming apparatus there is out there. I do want to give a shout out to Stevie Richards. Stevie Richards has started a new YouTube channel called Wrestling Analysis with Stevie Richard. He talks about what it's like to take thumbtacks, what it was like to get speared by Goldberg. He analyzes moments with dangerous bumps and things like that too, so it's really cool. Like, it's kind of taken off for him. He already picked up like 40,000 subscribers in like a month, so it's pretty dope. So if you get a chance, you should check it out. Yeah, so.
Oh, I definitely will. We don't have a Facebook or an IG or a Twitter.
Oh, we'll have all that soon enough, though.
But we'll get everything set up and we'll be posting stuff. I'm going to SmackDown on September 15th, so I'll definitely have some videos. I'll be posting up on there.
That's a sick weekend.
TikToks.
That's going to be a sick weekend. That's going to be a sick weekend. You got SmackDown Live, and you got 2 days of Slave to the Death match, and then you're going to have Neon Lights bar fights at Gorefest the weekend before that. That's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. There's a lot of wrestling here in Colorado. So.
A lot of wrestling, so be looking for interviews and everything like that.
The Lucha Libre is going on at the Taco Fest.
Actually, what was that?
The Lucha Libre is going on in Boulder at the Taco Fest this weekend, too. I forgot about that.
I forgot it. Yeah, I'm gonna be gone tomorrow. Saturday, I mean.
I think I'm gonna go. I'm going.
Really sad about it, but gotta make money. You know what I mean? But yeah, just keep staying tuned with us, man. We're gonna keep doing this every single week, punching out a whole bunch of different shows. Let us know if there's any wrestlers that you guys want to hear about. We already talked about Ed the Strangler Lewis. We're gonna be doing historical ones like that. I know I definitely want to talk about Gorgeous George and how he impacted one of the major impacts that a lot of people don't know about from the 1950s or 1940s to 1950s, really, how the impact was and how it's still influenced until today. Like, we'll be going through all of that. And remember, we'll probably have the Terry Funk episode probably out within the next couple of days just because we got to get that out quick, and Terry Funk just meant so much to each of us. I know I got to go back and watch some old matches and take some notes, I'm not going to lie, and there's just so much. And I'm definitely going to talk to my dad, and I'll get some stories from the 70s when they were still in the territories. So you'll hear some old school stuff where, like, my dad used to just walk around the Pueblo arena, literally just go to the bathroom and be standing next to Cowboy Bob Orton in one time. Like, yeah, that's how it was back then. And we'll talk about the differences in wrestling styles and how kayfabe has changed from then to now. And how kayfabe back then was, it was one of those things, bro. You died for that stuff, real stuff.
Yeah.
But we appreciate everybody tuning in. We appreciate it. Anything else you want to say before we cut this out?
No, that's it, man. Just don't forget, all you guys, to tune in to the Devin the Blessing show. I'm coming back with new content on there. I've got episodes that I haven't uploaded, but I'm changing my format a little bit. Not a whole lot, just a few things are going to change, so make sure you tune in for those changes. And then in late September, Jester's Palace downtown in Denver, where I was doing a Monday Night Cypher Wars for hip hop. That place is going to be coming back. We'll be resuming hip hop wars. It'll be definitely wrestling themed. So if you're a wrestling and a hip hop fan, make sure you come out for that. And then check out Dirty Dan at Gorefest on September 8th. Get tickets for that because there'll be Neon Lights bar fights there for that too. And then that's pretty much it. So.
All right, guys. I ain't really got much to say, but thank you guys for tuning in. I just want to hear everybody start saying ST Dub. We want to be your favorite podcast. Make sure you guys hit us up. We're not afraid to talk to anybody.
All right.
You guys. Thank you for listening.
Peace.
Peace.
You must be sleeping under a rock or something.